Welcome to Crickwellstraightup by Vijay and Prabhu.
1980-81, a tall left-arm spinner, 6 feet 3 in height, was pitchforked into the Indian team to play against New Zealand, and he made an immediate impact. We are talking about Ravi Shastri.
Yes, he landed the night before first test and made an immediate impact in that series. He took 15 wickets in that series of New Zealand. Here we are talking about a guy who has actually not only been an excellent test player but also been a very good commentator, and how can we forget his recent stint with Indian team as their national coach.
Absolutely, multifaceted person.
Yeah.
Always very opinionated. He could call a spade a spade.
Correct.
He started off as a slow bowler, batted at number 10, but over a period of time he developed himself as a very good middle order batsman. In fact, his partnerships with Kapil Dev meant India had a very formidable middle order, and later on he was able to overcome his lack of talent and became very dependable, so much so that he opened for India.
That's correct. When he was summoned by Sunil Gavaskar, because Sunil Gavaskar was the captain of that particular tour in 80-81, nobody had heard about this guy. So everybody used to wonder, what has Ravi Shastri done to be summoned by Sunil Gavaskar all the way to Wellington in New Zealand? A lot of us back then used to actually tease him that you must be putting a garland on Sunil Gavaskar's photo every day.
Yes, and I think that joke is still being played on him for the last 40 years or so.
Sure, he is.
Yeah, so going back to his batting abilities and his all-round prowess, we found that he was just a notch below Kapil Dev as far as the Indian team was concerned, but he was very valuable because he was multifaceted. I think Ravi Shastri worked out very quickly how to play the fast bowlers as well as the spinners. So if you had a look at his career, you would see that for the fast bowlers he would play his natural flick to long leg, which became famously known as the chapati shot. And then against the spinners, what he did was he thought outside the box. The slog sweep was introduced pretty much by Ravi Shastri, and he used it against Shane Warne with devastating effect during his 200 against Australia at Sydney.
That's correct.
It worked out brilliantly. He was a very good reader of the game.
If you look at a player's caliber, especially batting, he actually scored 1100s. Out of 1100s, he has scored 700s outside of India.
Wow.
So this is something which people don't actually take into account when they look at Ravi Shastri's career.
In fact, I didn't even know that.
So there you go. If you kind of look at the span of his career, unfortunately it was marred a lot of times because of various injuries that he's had. And love him or hate him, and there were, mind you, couple of strong camps here. In fact, I would say there were very few people who, while he was a player, that loved him as such.
Yeah.
He was a darling of some players, but not necessarily everyone.
Yeah.
So Ravi would bring that in people, that strong emotion that people actually had towards him.
Very true. But as Ravi would famously say later, bring it on. The more people hated me, it made me more determined to do even better, and that's all reflected in his performances.
Correct, you are absolutely right. He was actually known for a very good resolve. While playing for Poddar, he was trained by Almadi sir, also trained by Patil sir at the time when he actually reached Poddar. Prior to that, when he was in Don Bosco, he actually lifted Don Bosco to the Giles Shield title, I think in 76-77. I think that's where his platform for being a very good reader of cricket kind of started.
Yeah. And then in 85 we see him famously winning the Champion of Champions, the Audi Trophy, the team on the car, and I mean that picture is with 1,000 emotions. Probably ranks only next to the 83 victory.
Absolutely.
That photograph of the team with Ravi Shastri's Audi. He still calls it a team's car. Ravi Shastri was the first Indian player to actually use the slide, pick up and throw while fielding. Due to injuries, he decided to retire.
But that didn't actually end his association with cricket. he came back roaring as a commentator, as everybody know, and absolutely popular commentator. His knowledge of cricket kind of blossomed as he kind of spent time with other stalwarts. You could see him not only on the India commentary team, he would actually be commentating on other countries playing each other, which is what speaks of his caliber.
Absolutely. And as luck would have it, he was there when Dhoni hit his six to win India the World Cup.
Dhoni finishes off in style.
He was there when Yuvraj hit 6 sixes.
That's huge. That is a biggie. It's out of here. 6 more. Just a flick of the wrist. This is in the air again. Clears long off. 3 in a row. Now around the wicket. Will it make a difference? It doesn't. It's 4 in a row. And here goes Broad. Last ball of the innings. And he's put it away. Oh, has he? Yes, into the crowd. 6 sixes in an over. Yuvraj Singh finishes things off in style. The first time it's happened.
And he was pretty much everywhere at all the important moments, and his booming voice.
So what is the famous line that he uses?
And he hit the ball like a tracer bullet to the boundary.
I think 2006 or 2007, somewhere around then, he actually was an interim coach for a India's tour of Bangladesh. After that, he famously became the coach when Captain Kohli took the reins, and both of them have done fantastically well together, haven't they?
Yes, both of them gelled brilliantly, and India was number one for pretty much 5 years out of the 7 years they were together.
That's true.
When he came to coach India, we were probably at number 6 or 7, and we ended up in number 1.
Yeah.
So hats off to him in this avatar as well.
Absolutely.
As Indian coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And who can forget the Gabba, the miracle at Gabba? He was the coach. He actually called it the greatest win for Indian team ever. People know him as whatever, but he was a brilliant strategist.
Yeah.
Because even in his commentary, you could actually hear what he would like the captain to say and captain to do. A similar kind of trend which Shane Warne had.
Yeah.
You know, if you remember, we had done a video on Shane Warne, and we kind of picked up on that. Ravi actually fits into the same genre. Also, he also has a comedic kind of attitude towards this. He takes things in his stride.
Yes.
And that is what speaks of a man.
Absolutely. And interestingly, we know that Ravi Shastri captained India in just one test match.
That's right.
And India won that, Hirvani taking 16 wickets. But I think that he underused Ravi Shastri's capability as a captain.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit unfortunate, but maybe there were better captains around. That's what the teams.
Well, maybe that. And then, he was not necessarily the most popular player. You see, that is where the difference lies. As I said, love him or hate him, and there were more haters than lovers. So that's the reason, perhaps, is why he did not captain, even though he had all the acumen to be a very good captain. So, Prabhu, you and I grew up in Bombay around the same time. Do you have any memories of Ravi Shastri in these younger days?
Well, all I remember is that particular series in which he was pitchforked into the Indian team. And what about you?
Well, I was fortunate enough to actually play against him during my college days. So his career zoomed after that, and my career just went down the drain.
41 years of Ravi Shastri, and he's done it all, be it player, commentator, coach. Do you think his career is now ended, or there's something more yet to come?
Well, I don't know whether he is likely to come back as an administrator, and only he can tell. However, I wish that he comes back and gets into the commentary box, because the fans like you and I, and the fans all over the world, are actually looking forward to that famous line. What is that?
And he's hit the ball like a tracer bullet to the boundary.
That's how it's done.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss another video.